Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Top Flight Pod. You know what it is. You know what we're here to do. We're back in studio today. Fantastic episode that we have here for you guys. As you can see on screen here, or if you're listening, we have Jon Gallagher, Austin FC defender, attacker. I mean, I don't even know what to call this guy when people ask me about how great he is. But before we get into him, Alex, how are you doing, mate?
I'm doing great. I'm happy. I mean, we have Jon Gallagher here, one of the best players that we've had in not just this season, but, the entire history of the club. So I'm excited. I'm excited to have a player of his caliber here with us today.
Maybe one of the most complete players the club has ever had, mate. And I was looking at the stats, and we're going to get there. But, Jon, welcome to the pod. Thank you for being here, by the way. How you doing?
Thanks for the introduction. Hyping me up big time.
I left some things out. Could have been better.
Yeah, thanks to Cam and Gwen for setting this up, too. And, cool opportunity.
Definitely, bro. I mean, this is something that I've been waiting for a long time, ever since you scored that first goal at Q2. I mean, I feel like everybody always drifts into that, but you've done so many other good things for this club. It's honestly fantastic for me as a person that covers the team and as a fan of the team to have you here today on the pod. So thanks, mate.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thanks,
it.
Guys.
How you doing, B?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thank you for coming, Jon, and having this talk with us. I'm ready to go.
All right. Well, we got some questions here, of course, and then we'll see where this pod goes. But some really fun stuff that we have here for you, Jon. But kind of getting into it, I wanted to ask you for a life update. I mean, things have definitely changed for you. How has it been as a new father? Just give us a life update, man.
Yeah, man, it's the best thing in the world. She's turned 7 months now and starting to crawl and have a little personality, and she's screaming back. So the house is busy, and we're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel in terms of sleep. But my wife's been really good, and she's been amazing through it all. So
does she kick a ball already? Can she kick?
No, I'm gonna let her find her own
slowly
passion.
Slowly.
Yeah.
What has changed for you as a footballer? Because as a human, you see it as you're a new dad, and like you said, it's one of the best things in the whole wide world. But what has changed as Jon Jon Gallagher, the football player?
Maybe just taking a step back and trying to appreciate like all the little things. Goes by so quick. It feels like we just had her yesterday. I was actually thinking on the drive in, like I was making that drive to St. David's North Hospital right there. Man, that's like 7 months just gone. So trying to take a step back. I've probably matured a little bit and hopefully like calmed down. I'd like to think, but I don't know if my teammates would agree with that.
Yeah.
You said she has a personality. Is it your personality or your wife's?
Oh, she's stubborn. So it's mine.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I think most people say she kind of looks like me too. So my wife's not too happy about that either. But
I feel that too. They say that my baby girl, that she looks more like me, and I think she looks like me 100%. But I try to say no, but she looks like you.
Yeah.
I see it. See, look right there when she looks that way, and you see the profile. See, but just to give her some kind of love, But
Being here, this is year 5 of Austin FC, right? A lot has changed from year 1 to now you're a dad. How is it coming on, like this 5th year in Austin?
It's great. Time's flown by. As I just said, like trying to take a step back and appreciate all these moments. Feels like yesterday we were, arriving at the Fairmont Hotel, and we had no training ground and didn't have the stadium yet. And it's flown by, all the highs and lows. Soccer's a game of like a roller coaster, and it's been like that, especially for this club. So, 5 years, crazy, and just happy that I'm still around.
And it's what do you do when you're not a soccer player? You leave training, you leave Q2 Stadium, you go home with your family. What does Jon Gallagher do in the city of Austin?
Pre-baby or now?
Pre-baby.
Pre-baby. I'm pretty relaxed. I like to look after my house, the yard and stuff. The guys kind of give me a hard time about like I'm always mowing my lawn and looking after the flower bed and stuff. But I would play like video games with my friends, hang out with my wife, watch a lot of Netflix. We're very like low key. We moved up to Georgetown for a bit of peace and quiet, and now like it's not peaceful and quiet.
I gotta ask you, mate. The Peaky Blinders movie should be coming out here soon.
Yep.
Are you waiting for that?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
I've watched it like 3 or 4 times.
Me too.
Through.
Pound it. Me too. I've seen it 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because all the cast members, they won't be there. Aunt Polly, she died in real life. Rest in peace. But that movie is gonna be an insane premiere. I heard it might be coming out in theaters, but I'll catch it wherever.
Oh, it's top three shows for me.
Oh,
And I
100%.
watch a lot of TV.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Peaky Blinders.
yeah. Peaky
Well, how
Blinders.
do you say his name? Is it Cillian or Cillian
Yeah,
Murphy?
Cillian
Cillian
Murphy.
Murphy.
Yep.
Okay, fantastic actor. I want to ask you, mate. 5 years that you've been here in Austin, what are your favorite food spots? You kind of mentioned, your life pre-baby, but like after the baby now, like, do you still visit those places? What do you do when you're in the city?
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll do date nights every now and then. It's a little bit of a trek from Georgetown down to the city, but we got some spots like, Terry Black's is great.
Yeah.
When we got family in town, that's like the go-to spot because they want to go to it. ATX Casino's good. Red Ash. Yeah.
Dairy Queen?
Dairy Queen. Oh, we got Dairy Queen like 2 minutes from us. Yeah.
What's your favorite Dairy Queen meal?
I wouldn't eat the food. I wouldn't touch the food. I don't even know if it's food.
Okay.
But I'll get an ice cream.
Okay.
Yeah, ice cream's like my
Blizzards.
yeah, it's like my like vice. That's my weak spot. Ice cream.
If you ever get one from there, when they hand it to you, they're supposed to flip it.
I
and
know they
give
stopped
to you.
doing it.
They stopped doing it?
Yeah, they stopped doing it.
Game's gone.
I know.
Game's gone. Game's gone.
But the food, yeah, questionable.
Year 5 also, do you get recognized like in the city when you go someplace? They say, hey, that's Jon Gallagher. Does that happen to you?
Yeah, weirdly enough, it's always at HEB.
Okay.
Like grocery runs is, I guess, the spot.
HEB's great.
It's incredible.
It's
HEB
fantastic.
has some weird ties with Austin FC players now.
They do. But I love HEB.
Yeah, so grocery stores, I'm always like trying to act prim and proper.
Nonchalant.
Well,
Do
just
you
like no,
wear
I might
hats?
have eyes. No. Because everyone's like, it's so different than when I was overseas. Like, everyone's so friendly and respectful, and they'll ask for a picture.
Okay.
I think overseas they'd like give their opinion on
Oh, yeah.
your game and everything else.
That's why
No.
you're saying like when you go grocery shopping, you wouldn't go in your pajamas.
No, I would. Yeah, I'd just kind of.
I think a lot of HEB employees are also Austin FC fans. So
yep.
they definitely like spread the word and they say like, hey, this guy plays for Austin FC.
Yeah,
and then the next person
the guy
says
at the
it.
butcher is always like hooking me up. Yeah,
Ah, that's a great hookup.
That's, yeah,
It is.
that's amazing.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Definitely being a soccer player comes with things. I'd love to have that one. I'd love to. But I want to talk a little bit about World Footy. I know that you're a Man United fan.
Yep.
They just finished their game right now, 0-0. But do you have time these days to even keep up with them? Do you have time to watch something else other than film?
yeah. I got plenty of time.
What do you watch?
I mean, I probably haven't missed a Man United game that I could watch in years. So I grew up like a massive fan and still to this day. So it's been painful like since 2013. But
So since you're up to date with the club, what do you think's like? What's your opinion on what they got going on? I mean, they got everything. They got the new stadium coming up. Maybe Sir Jim came into the
Yeah.
ownership group. I mean, what's your take as a fan on what everything going on with Man U?
I mean, there's a lot of opinions out there, and like being a professional soccer player myself, I know that everything that you see from the outside isn't true. So
True.
I try to not like. I have friends that will give their opinions and jump to conclusions, which I try not to do. I probably did a couple years back, being like a passionate fan, but new ownership seems to be trying to make changes. I think the front office was probably the issue in terms of player recruitment. So. Seems like there's a plan in place, and I think the most important is like for a club to have a plan throughout the entire club. So
I didn't wear this jersey as a shot, by the way, in that one night where Kaká.
that was ages ago. I was probably like 6 years old.
What
so.
a game, though! That was a fantastic match. But Alex, you having a question, mate?
Yeah, but you're 90s baby, like most of us here in the studio.
96.
I feel old now. I'm, like some of the guys in the team are like 2005, 6.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
But from being from the 90s, do you have any particular idols in the attack since you started as an attacker, and now that you're a defender, also in defense?
There was no defenders I was looking at back then. It was all attackers. Ronaldo for United. That like 08 season was special because that's when I was probably like 12, 13. So I was like watching and more like aware, and yeah, I was buying like the vapors that he wore and. Watching like YouTube was starting to become big, so watching the highlight reels and trying to do it in my backyard. And I'm like, I can't do it.
He was special, man, especially
Yeah.
at that era. Oh my God, I remember that team was scary. They had it was
Yeah.
Tevez,
Yeah, Rooney too.
Rooney,
So
Ronaldo. My
being
God.
coached by him at the All-Star game was like surreal, and I don't think like I was in awe, and the other players were just kind of like, you know. But for me, that was so special because I grew up and like watched him, and my brothers too got to meet them and got to meet him outside the hotel, and got a picture with him, and they were both like shaking after, like they could not believe it. So
Would you say that Rooney is your favorite United player of all time, or is it somebody else?
be Ronaldo, but
Ronaldo, okay,
yeah,
of course.
I mean that like Rooney, Ronaldo, Tevez, like that was.
Have you ever read Sir Alex Ferguson's book, or
Yep.
have you listened to it?
Yeah.
I listened to it first. It was hard to understand what Fergie
Yeah.
was saying, but I got really used to it. Like I was
I
like, oh, okay.
I got to meet him
Really?
and like speak to him for like a half hour.
How was that like?
It was amazing. My college coach, I guess they have some connection from Aberdeen back in the day. They played together, or he played under Sir Alex, and so he came to visit Notre Dame,
Nice.
and like they knew I was such a big fan, so they texted me to come to the locker room,
That's
and like
amazing.
they surprised me, and he was there. I couldn't believe it.
What a
So-
surprise!
Were you also shaking?
Oh yeah, like the aura was crazy. I got to ask him like a couple questions, which was really cool.
The book was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. The
Yep.
book was great. I'm on Wenger's book right now.
Mm.
It's a little boring. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
Sir Alex's book was fantastic. I thought it was great.
I could see that.
Ancelotti's book is also really good. If you haven't picked that one up, that's a good one. I like that one. Question, mate?
When you meet someone like that, like Rooney or like Sir Alex,
Yep.
you're a professional player. You've been in this world, but how do you get that feeling of talking soccer with someone that has such a deep understanding of that?
Yeah, I mean, I forget that I'm like a professional too, but obviously not to their level, so I still act like a fan. But you just want to like consume as much of their insights and knowledge. Like with Sir Alex, there was like 3 of us that came to the locker room because it was during the day. We had classes. Coach texted me knowing like I'd skip class like for this. So we got to ask him. I tried just to ask him as many questions as I could that like I probably saw from a fan, and then see what his insight was on players and his ideas in terms of coaching and leading.
Now, you said that you've kind of been all over the world, right? I've heard that podcast where you were mentioning your travels, I guess you could say. But with your experiences, in Ireland, England, Singapore, and also here in the U.S., how do you think that has, shaped you as a player? Like, has that affected your playing style in any way?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably like cliche to say because I'm a guy that can play multiple positions, but probably because of like my upbringing, I was so, like had to be adaptable.
Yeah.
We were moving like every 2-3 years. I went to like 3 different high schools. I think I lived in I lived in like 16 different houses. We calculated one time growing up just from moving, and I had to adapt and I had to change to my environment. So I guess in a way maybe that is morphed me into the player I am today.
Can you take us out of a doubt, because Verde Nation and I were going back and forth on this, but he was saying that we know that you had trials with these teams, but you trained with Kaká, you trained with some of these top players.
Yeah.
Frank Lampard.
Yeah, David
You're right.
Villa.
You're right, mate.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't. What
But
what
this
did
is
you doubt
this
him?
is
right.
is when they were in MLS.
Okay.
So I went and like when I was in college.
What was that
training.
like?
Yeah, crazy. I mean, Kaká was like coming towards the end of his career, but like he was training with the reserve squad, so I got to play like small side with him, and yeah, I didn't pass him the ball one time, and he let me know. So. But like the levels were crazy, and then David Villa was like really special.
There's a funny TikTok of this one dude playing
Yeah,
like
he's
7
telling the
aside
cutback.
with Kaká. He's like, cut back. He's like, man, you're telling Kaká to
The audacity.
And Kaká like top Vincent.
That's like
Come on, man.
that's a class video.
Yeah, class, mate. Alex.
To talk about the new season this year, the club started with a new club, new coach, not a new club, a new coach, new system, new everything. Essentially, a lot of new teammates. You as being one of the first ones here, how do you manage to get into all of that change for this year?
Yeah, I think it's part and parcel of being a professional soccer player. Is you're going to have new coaches. I think there's very rarely players that go through careers with one coach. So, I got nothing but good things to say about the previous coaching staff. Obviously, Davies stayed with us. I played some of my best soccer, under them. But, when you get new people in the building, it gives fresh ideas and maybe helps mix up the schedule a little bit for guys so they don't they come out of their routine and out of that comfort zone. So it's just how you adapt to what they want and try, help fit their needs, because each coach is going to have an ideal standard or type of player profile that they're going to want. And, good players are usually the ones that can adapt to that and stay. So.
On the preseason note, man, we're kind of getting into this topic. You're one of the most fit guys that this team has and this team has ever had, and hopefully it's not will ever have. Hopefully guys follow the standard that you're leaving. But what is your routine, like in the preseason to kind of get ready for preseason, to have a proper preseason? I keep using that word, but to me, the preseason matters. You know what I'm saying? But, there's been, what was it, this year where you didn't even have to take part of that beep test. And previously, you've won it. So how do you maintain this physique or this fitness? Is it because Ronaldo's your favorite Man U player of all time? Does that play into it?
So I think the social media team was gassing me up a little bit there. Okay. I didn't do the beep test because I was carrying an injury from the previous season, so I was actually recovering.
They
from
gassed
something.
my boy up.
I know. but I had.
Hey, you're still undefeated champion.
I know exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm keeping that. But no, Ronaldo's obviously like a different specimen. Yeah. I think if it was like fitness, running, I'd beat him. But if it was like showing off our abs, I probably wouldn't.
Okay.
But I this probably started back in college when like getting ready for the season and just trying to be fitter than everybody else. We come in for like the beep test and stuff. I like found a way to love the off season in terms of like a preseason and say like, okay, how can I get myself the most prepared for what's about to come so that when I come in at the start, I like hit the ground running. And that was always my mindset. So how can I use this time to get better? COVID too, like the lockdown, I had so many like weaknesses and faults in my game that I noticed playing overseas and knew that if I wanted to get to that next level, like I had to make big changes. So like COVID lockdown, I went like absolutely crazy, training like 2-3 times a day. Really
locked
focusing, locked in. I mean, there was like nothing else.
Literally,
so
we were locked in. Literally, we were locked in.
I was jumping the fence to train on a field, like
those were crazy
buying dumbbells from Amazon. Like I was like really training hard, and because I was at a unique point in my career where I hadn't even played in the MLS, and I knew that when we come back, if we came back at that time, like I had to make a step up, and I did. So.
And to think that was just a couple years ago, mate.
Yeah.
To think that was
five,
just
5-6 years ago.
Felt like the world stood still for a little bit. I don't know, man. It was crazy times. Crazy times.
And now that you've mentioned Ronaldo and Uzuni also mentioned that that's his idol. Is that locker room a Ronaldo fan locker room?
No, I don't think so.
No, because we've had a lot of Argentinians and you don't want to talk about Ronaldo around them.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, right now the only Argentinian is Nico, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we had guys that had Messi like tattooed on their body and stuff. So
It's different down there.
Wouldn't mention CR7.
It's different. Maybe now a little bit more. Maybe you should take that role.
I'll be a little bit more freedom. I mean, I know Zuni's not afraid to speak his mind, so
he's definitely not.
Definitely not. Yeah. I love that guy. Honestly,
he's a character, man. He's come in, and the guys are really taken to him. He's a good guy.
Alarm why? No, but John, I want to ask you, mate. 7 games into the season now, you featured in all 7 matches for Austin FC. How are you feeling? How are you seeing this team so far?
It's been strong. I think there's we obviously want to be a little bit more potent in the attack, but if you look at the roster and the lineups we put out, there's a lot of new guys, and that's hard to kind of gel. On top of that, you got a new coach as well, so difficult. But I think guys are taking it really well. We've been solid as a team, not conceding, so we're staying in games. Maybe a couple years back we don't get a result last night. Maybe we concede a late goal in transition or what. I don't know. But
you said that post-match, you're like, in other games, in other times, maybe we lose this game. And I've seen Austin FC lose that game before multiple times.
I think there's been a lot more control And that's probably what, if you ask most guys like how they felt, is that we felt like we are, even when we don't have the ball, we're still controlling the game, and we kind of know where we are, what the game needs. Maybe we got to defend a little bit more than usual, but you know, we're finding ways to get results, and that's the most important, because you know, a point here and there maybe sneaks you into the playoffs at the end of the year. So I know we were just as disappointed as I'm sure the fans were last night, but you know, it's a point, and that's 4 games where we've collected points. So
It's not the end of the world.
that's it, man.
That's what you said, my boy. Said it's not the end of the world.
Because I was gonna say, like, yesterday when I went into the locker room, I was expecting maybe a little bit more of a pessimistic.
gloom.
Yeah.
Well, you probably came in a little bit after it. I think guys were, you know, annoyed. But you know, Nico broke it down to us. He's like, it was a really good effort. He said it felt like a playoff game. You know, it was very intense, very combative. Both teams were kind of like not trying to give away too much. And Portland are a really good team. You know, if you look at their front four, they're really dangerous. And we kept them pretty quiet for the most part. So, yeah, look, it's what, three wins on the bounce, and then you get a point at home. Is what is.
Sure.
And you know something that I talked to Biro yesterday, and he told me, I asked him what was the difference between the first Portland game and yesterday's, and he said that he answered very shortly and just said that that this time it felt like you were more of a team than before. Whenever you are in these games where you know it's the second half, game is ending, and you're under a lot of pressure because maybe you don't have the ball and the other team is attacking you, and you're just trying to hold on to the result and defend. How, as a team, and you being part of the back line, manage that pressure of, you know, we won't crumble, we will get out of this with a point?
Yeah, I think probably one of our strengths this year has been the collective. I know, like, we probably hear that word a lot, but it truly has been. When you look at some of the games like LAFC, where we're fighting off some of the best attackers, San Diego, really, really good team. You see what they're doing to Seattle. Yeah, it's, you know, this is a good side that we're playing. We played a lot of good teams recently, early on, and we've gotten points, and we've won
St.
those
Louis,
games too.
St. Louis,
exactly. Never won in St. Louis. We got a result last week. So I think it's about the collective of the group, and that's where our strength is right now. We're not relying on individual moments, where some teams are. You know, we are like 11, and when you come to play Austin, it's you're in for a long, hard night. You're not going to be given a lot of space, and that's been kind of our identity. So trying to find results through that.
On the identity point, you know, what has Nico brought in, like a new approach to games? You know, what's something that he's emphasized that maybe it's not obvious to the fans that are looking at it either at Q2 from their seats or from their house watching it on like TV or something? You know, what's I guess what I'm asking is, what's Nico's approach to these games?
Yeah, well, I guess you know, most coaches I've played for, they want to have like a set identity, and they come in and maybe they don't have the players because they're taking over a roster that wasn't theirs. You see, like Man United, right? Trying to play 3-4-3, and you don't have the players to do that. But with Nico, I remember him saying in the off season, like, people asked him what's going to be the identity, and he's like, I don't know yet. He's like, I got to see what the players can give me. And I think that's a really unique way to approach coaching a team, and it's been super successful because he knows, like, you got to win. And that's been his emphasis, is like, first we're going to tighten up at the back, which has been an issue. And there's been a massive emphasis on defending first. And second, well, most important, is finding ways to win games. And that's, you know, at the end of the day, results business. And he's come in and made it really clear that we might not have like a set way of playing or set principles, but we're about winning, and we're about the collective, we're about working hard as a team. And I think we're going to build on it too, because he's only been here since January with the team. So I think we've set like the foundation of being a unit, and now it's like, how can we expand on it in terms of like being better in the attack, being more fluid, being better with the ball.
Okay.
You know, in training with Nico and these new ideas of, you know, like you said, he first said about focusing on the defense, and Austin is now the team with least conceded goals in the entire league. Is there something new in training that Nico has brought to the team that you see it and you say, wow, this is this was a game changer for us?
Not necessarily. It's maybe just like our plans game to game are like very detailed on how we're going to nullify the opponent. And yeah, I think it's shown that it's paid dividends. We've been really successful in terms of shutting teams out, and even in those games where we're maybe defending and we're against the ball, they've not been like peppering our goal with shots. Where last year maybe felt like that.
Yeah.
It's felt like we've made Brad's life a little bit easier, which
he's still done a good job whenever he's called
he's
upon.
fantastic.
That's some massive saves the last couple
and
weeks.
He'll continue to do that because that's what he's always been doing.
You think this year's the year where he gets the call up to the All-Star game? He's
He's
been snubbed.
Last year I thought so. Yeah. I hope so. I feel
hope
like
so
he
too.
deserves it. In front of the home crowd too, and he's been a stalwart for us.
You better watch out too. You might get that call up. the way
Just
you've been playing.
head down, and
Head
keep
down.
focusing. See what happens.
I want to ask you this though. In the training ground, Davey stayed. Love Davey, that guy. I've heard nothing but good things about him. But there was an overhaul from the goalkeeper coaches to the guys that help y'all warm up. The guy that we got from Juarez, we got a guy from the Saudi league. We got so many guys from all over the world. But what's been different in like training? From the previous coaches that were here. Like, are you guys doing anything different? Is there maybe the similar kind of drills, or is there any?
I mean,
differences?
yeah, it's all different. Even just from like schedule of when we arrive and
More intense.
I wouldn't. I mean, it's intense. It's every club I've been to. It's intense.
Okay.
So it's hard to say like, oh, it's more intense. It's different, and sometimes that like breeds new air in the building, and there's like a pep in your step because you get out of that routine that you've been in for a while, and they're like, oh, we got a meeting at this time, or we've got like gym at a different time. So it just keeps players on their toes. I
Shakes
think.
things up.
Yeah, exactly. Keeps players on their toes, keeps them like focused, and we don't know what's coming, so we're like eager to kind of get after it.
Fair, like
Yeah.
that.
Something that we've always noticed about you is that you always give your 100%. You give everything you've got. Actually, it's kind of funny because every time I'm looking down in the field, and if I'm not sure who I'm watching, I know if it's someone running with their head down and sprinting, I know that's you. That's for sure. So where does that come from? Where does that effort of, you're going to turn on that turbo and give everything to get to that ball?
Probably that just like Irish fighter mentality, not being outworked, kind of having to fight for every inch you get in life, which I felt I've had to, a path less taken to the professional game than most people. It's been a bumpy road, but I had to fight and claw and climb the mountain my whole life, and so I think that's where it comes from.
You've never given up.
Yeah,
You've never given up.
Yeah, I mean that's who I've always been. And
What you said whenever you were scared to call your dad and tell him that it didn't work out, and you waited, what was it, like a couple hours before you called him?
Yeah.
When you said when your dad responded like, "Hey, well, why don't we try coming to the U.S.?" I try to put myself in that situation, and the relief that probably brought to your body was insane.
Yeah.
Because you're doing all this for your father, all the sacrifices that he's made for you for sure, right? And it doesn't work in one spot, and you're scared to make that phone call. I know exactly that feeling, mate. And for him to just give you that support, I mean, it must have been massive, bro. Must have been
and
great.
like I have a kid now, so I can see like he was never gonna be disappointed in me. I think it was just that there'd been so much put into like my career and my path. It was I always wanted to be a professional player.
Yeah.
So I this was like I was 17. It was kind of like my last chance, and when I got let go, it was tough. So
I'm no pro player, but I remember when I was younger, I wrecked one of my trucks, and the first person I had to call was my dad. I waited like 45 minutes to call him because I was scared.
Yeah.
And then I called him, and he said, "Nah, we'll just calm down, make sure everything's okay." And then I was like, "Oh,
well,
I should have called you right away." You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, that's what they're there for, man.
Yeah.
But one of the quotes that's always stuck with me, and it's like, it can be anything. My dad would always say is, "There's always a way," and this could be like from packing your suitcase, like there's too much stuff. He would be like, "No, there's always a way. It'll fit." to you know,
Cheers to the line.
Cheers to the line. To me on the train home saying like, I'm not going to be a pro. He's like, no, there's always a way. Like, let's try a different route. And that was, that's kind of like my mentality.
What a dad. What a dad. Shout out to the dads out
Shout,
there.
yeah, shout out to all the dads.
Shout out to the dads. Shout out to the dads. Shout out to the dads. Alex, mate.
Jan, so you've become so useful in this team in several different ways. Sometimes you find yourself in the starting 11. Sometimes you don't. How do you handle that? You know, right now you're starting and you're doing great. But when you're starting from the bench, how do you handle that emotion?
Yeah, I think, you know, this is my 8th, 9th year as a pro. Like, I've never seen a guy that's maybe started every single game, bar like a couple. So it's going to happen where you've got these moments that you've got to kind of find your way back into the 11, and that doesn't mean you can't have an impact. You know, we've seen guys that maybe aren't starting that come on and make a real difference in games too. So it's about trying to find ways you can provide value to the coach and give him options, where it be from minute 0 or you're coming on the 80th minute to help close out a game or try and make a difference.
Let's see. Now, getting into some Austin FC history, mate, some of your best personal moments, you know, with this club.
Yeah.
I got to ask you, you know, out of all the goals that you've scored for Austin FC, which one has been your favorite and why? I got mine, but I'm going to let you answer first.
I got mine.
I feel like it's a loaded question, because if I don't say the first goal, there's going to be a lot of people
No.
that like,
That's not mine.
okay.
No
Your
way.
favorite, your
No
favorite.
way, bro.
I
It was a
mean,
tap-in, if we're being real.
hey, the tap-in.
It was a tap-in, if we're being real, John. It was a tap-in, if we're being real.
It's crazy. It was from like the...
It was
the
put on a platter, mate.
Okay. But you know what's even better is like I had a broken foot.
Yeah, you
and
were
I
on
scored with that foot.
Tylenol. That was
Yeah.
massive. That's bigger than the goal.
Tap-in's crazy. Tap-in's crazy.
Okay, maybe
Because
I'm
you
wrong.
go back and watch the clip.
Yeah.
Like I take the ball out of the air with one touch and play like a nice pass
yeah.
to...
No, the build-up is insane. But the
tap-in's
finish,
crazy.
the finish is right. Mate, it was a good goal. It was a good
Give me a
goal.
hard time. Favorite goal got to be the Salt Lake one.
Oh,
Ah,
I know
that was
which
mine
one.
too.
I know which
That was
one.
mine too.
Yeah.
That was
Mainly because I got sent so many videos of the people back home. Like, was it at what's the place downtown where they were doing a live show of the game?
ACL?
The ACL?
Yeah,
Was it the ACL?
Yeah.
I saw like so many videos of like that place packed and like
Oh,
they're
yeah.
celebrating the goal, and I was like,
You were there? Logan was there?
Yeah.
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 I was like, that
man.
was super cool.
I'm sure that the
That was
event
awesome.
organizers
Yeah.
were very thankful, because after that, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was a massive goal.
No, I know exactly. That was a nice
yeah.
goal, yeah.
That was
I-
my pick.
I was running down a little bit of a hole, and I was like, I've got to shoot this or else. And
That's good.
I mean, yeah.
You've had some other good goals, though. I mean, I was looking at.
I think Owen scored a
the
banger
highlight
that game
reel.
also, right? Was it?
In Garcelle, yeah.
Yeah.
I was looking at your goal catalog, and it's hard to pick something other than that RSL one. It's tough.
Yeah,
You've had some massive
I don't
goals,
think
though.
I've scored many from outside the box, so
You have some headers,
Yeah,
though.
that's true.
a couple headers,
Some headers.
yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But
You-
even then, like even the one that you had this season with the Owen pass, the quick
Yeah.
pass, the angle on that, I thought that was pretty, we're pretty on point.
I had a lot of time to think about messing it up, so I tried to like not think as I was kind of approaching.
Now, I asked you about maybe this is probably your highest point, or maybe the best joy that you felt as an Austin FC player. But I want to ask you, because I've been there with you as a fan. What has been the lowest point for you as an Austin FC player? Like, what has been just the worst you felt coming after a game? And maybe to help spin the wheels, for me, I know for Brian also, the Violette second leg. Leaving the stadium that day, I felt empty, bro. Like, that was the first real heartbreak that Austin
Yeah.
FC gave me. That's when I realized, like, damn, I'm invested in this team. Incredibly invested in this team.
It was pain. It was pain.
That was the lowest
Yeah.
point for us.
Well, we appreciate your guys' passion, and we feel that too. But I say probably walking off the field at LAFC.
LAFC
in
got
the, in the
down
final,
too.
just because we felt like we had something like really special. I don't know what it was. We just didn't come out that day, and they were the better team that day, because we had their number twice
Yeah.
that season. I don't know. We just didn't get it right that day.
No,
And
that's-
seeing them celebrate with the confetti on the field. Like, I always remember that. And seeing my teammates hurting too. That was was tough.
No, definitely close second. I think that CCC one or the one against Violette, it made like international news.
Yeah,
and
that
we're,
one
s-
was,
we're
that
still
one was
getting
probably,
banter.
like, yeah, it was probably just a little bit more embarrassing than.
But that LAFC one, I mean, I was there in the supporter section, and every time that we were trying to get a chant out, the LAFC fans was just drown us out. Like they were singing a Chicho chant or something else, and they were also a team that year too.
Away games in the MLS are really tough.
Yeah.
I think that's something that I've learned is like it's such a unique league. I'd love to know like the statistics of winning on the road versus like the other leagues around the world. It's so hard to get points in the MLS.
I know you don't bet, but my friends that bet, they always go for the home team in MLS.
Yeah, I feel like there'd be a massive advantage, and maybe it's because of the travel, the different time zones, weather conditions are different.
Yeah.
But like when I was playing in Scotland, you're traveling like 3-4 hours, and it felt like every game was like normal. Here it feels like you're
3 or 4 hours, you're not even out of Texas, mate.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? You're not even out of Texas.
barely in Dallas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
I
Frisco.
mean, this country is insanely big, dude. Insane. Imagine going up from Austin to Seattle as your job. Ugh, annoying, mate.
But right now, just picture like the next game for Vancouver, like traveling to Vancouver.
Yeah.
And even Vancouver, they have to go down to Mexico and then back to Vancouver.
Right, they got a
and-
game midweek.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Tough.
But now to bring us back up, you talked about the lowest point for you. What was the highest point that you felt with Austin FC?
Oof. As a team or like individual?
Whichever one's easier.
Highest points.
I mean, the All-Stars got to be up there for you for sure, but
Yeah, that like individually.
Individually, the All-Star.
For sure. Nothing's gonna beat
But
that.
as a team?
But as a team, first game at home was pretty special.
Beating
First goal.
beating Dallas in the playoffs.
Yeah,
Big
that
dot,
was
yeah.
that's
or
a good one.
the 4-1 LAFC here at
That was-
home.
That's one that I love because got to mark Gareth Bale and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that's another.
this
Idol.
also opens the door for just future silverware for Austin FC to deliver, and I'm sure that you're hungry for that. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
sure
we all
all
are.
the guys
Yeah.
want to deliver something meaningful to look back at your time with the club
Yeah.
and say that was my highest point, like something to just cling on 100%. And the fan base here is awesome, but they honestly deserve something like that. They deserve like an Open Cup. They deserve like MLS Cup is very difficult, but that's possible for this team. I think
Yeah,
so.
I think we got really hungry individuals that are like hungry for silverware.
We got like 7 guys with lion tattoos on their back. You gotta be hungry. You know what I'm saying? Why you got the lion tattoo? You know what I'm saying? Like, go eat. You know what I'm saying? But, as we're kind of closing the pod on this section, mate, I want to ask you. Do you ever see yourself playing in Europe again? You're still a young man. You're only 29. You're on the doorstep of 30. But for a soccer player, you still have years left, right? You're hopefully you go to your 40 like Chris. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you get a Saudi check. Who knows?
I gotta talk to my agent about that.
Wait, hit me up. But do you
I'll
ever
be
see
going
yourself?
alone. My wife wouldn't be coming with me. I think shit.
Do you ever see yourself going to Europe back, man? Or
Yeah, I don't know.
What's
I mean,
coming?
the retirement age. I mean, it's tougher to stay in the league once you get like 34, 35. I mean, I'm 29 now, and I don't think my goal would be to get back to Europe right now.
Okay.
I think it's to stay in the league and to win silverware. I've experienced being on a roster at Atlanta where we won an MLS Cup, but I didn't play, so that kind of is like my own little fire in my belly. Like I want to do it where I play a part. But I had my experience in Europe, and it was amazing.
Aberdeen?
Yeah.
You did well out there. I was looking at some of the highlight reels they have on YouTube on their team channel, whatnot. There was a lot of plays where there was in the European qualifiers. There were 6 games. You had 3 assists.
Yeah.
You did pretty good, man. You had 2 in one game and then 1 in the other one. You had
Yeah.
1 5-0 in the one you had 2 assists, and then you won 2-1 in the one where you had 1 assist.
Steep learning curve over there. I went from playing USL games for Atlanta 2 in like a stadium with no people to then like 4 weeks later I was starting in a Europa League game. And
my God.
like I was thrown in deep end because we had a bunch of injuries in preseason and I was already fit because I was joining midseason. So the manager like threw me in and I hit the ground running, but a lot of tough moments over there. In soccer's there's a lot of pressure with promotion, relegation.
Where are those guys at? You know, you still keep up with any of your teammates from?
Yeah. A lot of them are playing
Aberdeen?
like in the Championship or League One. Some are still in Scotland. But yeah, I mean, amazing experience. I got to play at Rangers, Celtic. These stadiums are like incredible. If you
Scored
told me,
against Rangers.
yeah, if you told me 10 years ago I'd be doing that, I'd like, man, I made it.
What jerseys do you have on the wall? I know you have your Aberdeen one frame. I'm sure you have an Austin FC one. Is there any
Yeah,
other ones
I've
you have?
got like my debut ones that were given to me like as gifts from
Okay.
my wife or my parents, so they like framed it for me. And then I've got a couple like that I've kept from games, but mostly like friends. I don't think I've got any like super special ones.
Well, here's a gift from the Top Flight podcast for Jon Gallagher. Here you go.
Do I
mate.
gotta open it now?
You can open it right now. We'd like it if you do.
Okay.
It's a gift for, especially very big shout out to Ozzy. Ozzy's the one that put it
Okay, yeah.
together. It was our idea as a collective, but Ozzy put the box together. He went to go get it. You like it? There we go. We got Step Brothers. Boy BB and I. We got the Austin FC Chris in the front.
Nice.
Yeah, for you, mate. From us, obviously, but like I said, a special shout out to my G, Ozzy.
Ozzy sent me a picture of this last week.
Yeah.
It's on a coffee mug
Yeah, man. Put it in a case, put it somewhere, or you can use it.
Yeah,
You can-
I'll use it.
I'll
use it. Yeah.
Yeah, I got my coffee mug right here, mate. But, and the
Thank you.
5-year gift, I got it right over there.
Thanks,
I
guys.
mean, if you wake up, game day, take a sip of your coffee, looking at that picture of you and BB, I mean,
That's it.
That's gonna be a winner,
I know.
When we signed him, I was over the moon. I was like,
Yeah.
let's go. And I even told the boys before, I was like, guys, Brandon Vasquez is in limbo. He's flirting with San Jose, San Diego. Why are we not in for him? And then a couple weeks later, it ended up happening.
We were. I mean, I can say it now because we signed him, but we were like, I think we were the first in because he called me like way back in the fall, and I was like, you got to come here. I was like,
So we were in it before the
I
the Cali
think we were
teams
like, yeah, we were in the mix like from
from the get-go,
yeah,
from the jump.
I want to say.
Okay.
So
Nice.
That's good to know.
I was like, you got to come, bro.
It makes sense though as to why Rodolfo Borrell got emotional in the presentation with BV9. He
Yeah.
actually shed a tear. I was like, "What is going on?
Yeah.
What is going on?"
Long
But
process.
long process. And
Yeah.
with doing the podcast, doing the coverage that we do for Austin FC, I've learned that getting a lot of these guys to the club has been an insane process where it is more than just convincing the agent. People don't even know like so much stuff that goes
Yeah,
into
overseas
this.
has got to be difficult
Yeah.
with the visas
Families,
and stuff. Yeah.
convincing the families, the wife, the kids got their life over there, whatnot. But shout out to the recruiting staff for this offseason, 100%.
Yes, sir.
Alec, any question, mate?
So just again, I guess to close this out, we've talked about how you've learned a lot through these years, but beyond just wins and losses, what's the most unexpected thing about yourself that you think you've learned, that you discovered that you were like, wow, I didn't know I was able or capable of doing this?
Like throughout my career?
Yeah.
Probably like back to the quote, like just always finding a way. Like if I look back, there's been like pivotal points in my career where it could have went like this way or that way. And so much so that like I could have been not playing in the MLS, or I could have been like not have a contract anymore. And like I've always kind of found a way to like keep going. And at first I was like, man, like I kind of got lucky here. But after like the second, the third, the fourth time where I've like found a way, I've realized like maybe that's been one of my strengths, is just like always finding a way to keep persisting and keep going. And consistency is kind of the name of the game. And for me, that entails like hard work, always being a good professional, good teammate.
And last thing for me, mate, after everything is said and done with Austin MC, you can either, honestly, the game is harsh. You could be traded.
Yep.
You could be sold. We don't know what can happen. Or you can retire as a club legend, which I think that you could definitely be if you stay here for the years to come. But how do you want to be remembered how do you want the Austin FC fans to remember Jon Gallagher, the player?
Always gave us 100%. I think it's simple as that. And was a good teammate, always put the team first, and helped, Austin achieve its goals.
Thank you. Appreciate you coming onto the pod, mate. Thank you for your time, of course. B,
guys.
you want to ask him anything? mate?
No, it was great. Thank you for coming out, John. Thank
You
you.
guys made
Alex?
that super fun.
No, I think we have. Are we gonna do Patreon questions?
Yes, we are going to do the Patreon question. We will get there. We're going to take a quick break, and we will get to them here in a bit.